You need to try and pick off the units as. Look at the shields on the Martin.
Oh my God, the ball is going to take him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the winners round 2 for the IPL Season 2. I'm DJ Wheat from OneMoreGame.tv, and you are tuned in to a matchup between Mao's Mana and Fenix here on IGN.com/IPL. Also the place where you can find a lot more about this particular season, including interviews, other great matchups, and a whole lot of more content. Keep your eyes on the prize there, guys. As great things continue to roll out there, and I'm excited to be here tonight. Two very, very good players, and might sound like a broken record because it seems like every single time that I cast this guy, I'm pretty amazed by what he's able to do. That, of course, being Fenix, our blue Terran spawning in the west position here on Terminus RE, and he is going up against our red Protoss, Mao's Mana, and this guy's no slouch either, ladies and gentlemen. You know, in fact, many of the tournaments that we saw at the end of 2010 were the location where Mana did a little bit of damage. He surprised a lot of people. He's got that famous matchup with Morrow, and he is a player that is certainly one that you've got to watch out for. So how will the the very standard, the very concrete style of Mana match up against what I think is a pretty aggressive style from Fenix? He really, really likes to turn up the heat and do as much economic damage or spread your army out or get you behind on your macro. For whatever reason, he's just puts a smile on his face. You can tell when it goes down with such sort of beauty and very delicately as well. So Fenix going to go ahead. He puts his racks there at the top of the ramp, but not blocking the ramp. Not much of a need to wall off in this type of a matchup here. As you can see, neither the Protoss or the Terran really doing that at all. And for the Protoss, it's really beneficial as we have a reactor going down for Fenix. Not uncommon, as we might just have some pressure coming up through here. But for the Protoss Mana, this actually works out much better because the travel distance for the probe to actually put the building down is much less. So in reality, you are getting some more mining time. Now, it's like, oh my gosh, he built this gateway so close to his nexus that now he's rich. Not necessarily the case, but it's not like a matchup versus Zerg where you do have to think about walling off, or you can suffer some major consequences for that. So neither race will have to do that. Now we see Mana parking himself over here at the Zelnaga Tower, and he is just out of vision of that Marine. He's going to lose his vision. The Marine moves forward, and he may lose that. Yes, actually, where is second Marine? He's got a lot queued up, but there was no second Marine, so he scouts that natural going up. And how will that make Mana react here as he had the Stalker come out? SCV trying to get his way in there, but will not happen. Sentry on the way now. And there's that Marine coming to get his revenge. This time he blocks the probe, takes him out. Buddy system always works. So several more Marines coming out now. Assuming the factory. No. Okay, so Fenix going for something a little bit different. He is going to go for a fairly heavy bio build. Stalker meets up with those Marines. Didn't like them too much. The bunker will be placed here as Fenix makes his way down to drop that. So we're going to have a very, very bio heavy. He's off of one gas here. So I suspect that at least one of these would get a tech lab. And we'll see the tech lab go down almost immediately. Stalker coming back for a little bit more. Shields are gone, but not enough to do any hull damage by the Marines. Marines moving forward, though. We'll be happy at the end of the day if they can actually come back with a kill. Stalker and the Marines, knowing how that would actually turn out, decide to back off. And we'll have double tech lab on the 2 racks so that we can get stim and probably combat shield coming out as well. Or actually concussive shell. Going to be good if he does decide to go with some marauders. And we do see some coming out right now. So expect to get that really, really cheap upgrade. As you can see, just 50-50. Meanwhile, we haven't really checked out what the Protoss is doing much right here. And he did go for a 3-gate expand with the the robot facility, that robot factory of the Protoss. The robotics facility going down at the top of the ramp. Then, of course, the natural is already up. And it's a decent and much needed reaction, I think, to try to stay on the same base. Probe does go down. But with these 3 stalkers, might try to poke forward. You can see that stalker that was down has regenerated its shield. So he will kick with his buddies, kick these Marines out of there. And there's the bunker at the top. Now, what's going to be really scary, did he finish up concussive shells? No, he hasn't even got it yet. And versus these stalkers, those 2 marauders would guarantee at least a kill. But it's not going to happen. In fact, he hasn't even started it yet. Still waiting for his stim to finish up here. And the factory will go down. So SCV actually makes his way around, will bypass the 3 stalkers. There won't be anything that will allow him to get into the main, or there will be plenty, I guess, that will allow him to get in the main. But more importantly, he checks on that 3rd, sees that it's not down yet, and that's good enough for him. He'll even hide that SCV over there. He will not be chased by Mana, which is a bit surprising. Now, we have a couple probes going out here. I assume that they're going to be not only scouting some maybe shenanigan locations, but also start considering where they're going to put those proxy pylons. So keep an eye on where Mana is going to decide to do that. Meanwhile, Fenix moving out just a little bit, a small portion of his army will be able to take out that probe. So actually the probe's just going out for towers. What do I know? Observer going to make their way over. And the observer traveling over to Fenix's base, find out what exactly he is up against. And if we take a look at his vision, you can see that he doesn't know much. And without any missile turrets, he's probably going to be able to get a whole lot of information here. There we finally do see that concussive shells going down. But over on the other side, and let's check in the main base of the Terran. There the starport's down. He is going with the medevacs first off. If he catches glimpse of what's going on in the Protoss space with the robotics bay down and extended thermal lance researching, he's definitely going to want to start thinking about those Vikings. But he may just try to get the medevac count up. We'll see what happens after these first 2 come out. Of course, bio and medevac versus a Protoss army can be very, very deadly. We do see the missile turret going down, and one more medevac at least will be coming out. Will the 3rd go down? He's waiting for the 400. Fenix drops his 3rd to complete the crescent moon of bases here. At the same time, we've got Mana following suit. His first Colossus is out, adding a few more gateway forges to the mix. The gateways he added were up here, actually. The forges, though, for the double upgrades, going to be very important versus this bio army. You can see right now these stalkers, the zealot, all the ground army, they have absolutely nothing in terms of upgrade. There's a drop in the back. Was waiting for it to come in, but it kind of took even me by surprise. And this, oh my goodness, both of those medevacs going down. And I'm not even sure that even a single zealot, I do think a zealot was lost, but it was a very, very minimal losses here. And probably because of that observer. I was watching on the mini-map. Hopefully you were too, but we saw it coming in back here, completely stuffed by those units. Didn't need those upgrades. Over on the Terran side, we have no upgrades. Mana just waiting up in the corner. Possible location for a 4th base, scouting out some real estate. And so far, Mana manning to hide his Colossus for the most part. In fact, he's going to engage with this ground army here. And, you know, that could really be a phenomenal bait. And what I mean by that is, if your opponent doesn't know he has Colossus, is he making Vikings? There are a couple of Vikings coming out right now. He already has 2, so he's kind of expecting this tech path. And I could be wrong. There could have been a scan that was maybe missed. A couple of idle probes over here. And the medevac, which was deployed to take out the probe on the side, did spot the medevac and at least alert this army to move into position. In fact, we see some cannons going down as well. The medevac will just at least be in sleeper mode as it now starts to move out towards the third. Is out of range of the cannons, but will be surprised here as suddenly Colossus beating on him. And although the medevac won't go down and all the units are saved, that was kind of a scary little exchange. Now, observers are getting full information here for Mana. Right now, we see Fenix just really pumping out more bio as he's added 3 more racks here in the back of his base, putting him up to a total of 7. Double starport now that he knows the Colossus is out. Also, he can work Vikings out of one, medevacs out of the other. And this observer is just, I mean, it's full of info right now. That drop getting dropped off there and healed by the medevac. But what is the route that is being, I mean, it kind of just looks like it could turn into, you know, what the engagement is going to be. Mana is, like, I have a feeling there's just going to be one battle. Mana is going to throw down his 4th here. Could be a risky place to put that. We see this 4th going off in the 3rd of the north base. And there is a scan. And let's see what it reveals. It doesn't reveal the Colossus over here, but he's got to know that based off the timing of the game, that there's a very good chance that he's got a much higher number than that. SCVs transferring over. And as we see a pylon go down, the army of Mana moving out. It's a very heavy ground army consisting of zealots. Those upgrades right now sitting at 1-1. The 3 Colossus are revealed now. 2 Fenix, and Fenix actually moves back. He does have more of a force over here, but any sort of engagement with some ghosts, by the way, but any sort of engagement right now with this army out of position would be an insta-win for Mana. He's got a lot of Templar there as well. And those High Templar will just completely wreck that bio army with vision. Here we have the rest of the army moving forward, but is it still enough? There's no ghost there quite yet. Some force fields deployed in order to stop that bio army, but it only gets a couple of units, and they do get away. No tanks. There we have a few more ghosts coming out. Currently, there are 2 ghosts out on the field, but based off the army that he's dealing with, I feel like he probably needs a few more. We don't see any more in production, but we do see the upgrades coming out for the Terran. We've got +3 armor on the way now for the Protoss, and +3 weapons now just started a moment ago with Blink, increasing the life of those Stalkers. And there is a pretty large Viking ball here. So first engagement's about to come down. Where's those EMPs? Fenix with his ghost out front. He does not hit. The most miraculous EMP drops 2 defensive storms in order to help out in getting his army away. There's the scan to check the size. And there are more High Templar. In fact, there's a lot of High Templar over here that could storm the big group of Vikings. He will move forward. He needs to get those High Templar into his army. Right now, there are no more ghosts to EMP, and this would be a great engagement. We'll see another one, and storms are thrown down like crazy by Mana, and almost the entire bio army is depleted with about 6 more High Templar coming in from the side, and there it is, GG. And we will see Mao's Mana take game number 1 in a convincing fashion. A very, very hard and intense tech switch over to those High Templar, not over making those Colossus. Almost forcing Fenix maybe to make too many Vikings, and that bio army was obliterated by those storms, and that means Mana goes up game number 1. The next game will be on Shakura, so don't go away. We'll be right back.